reasonable class as far as just finishing okay, and I think transition of kind of losing some coaches. We were actually one coach down. We still have a coach to hire, and we went all the way through the process without a guy. But we had 4 on defense and 4 on O and myself, so I thought we battled pretty good and overcame the the coaching transition. And I don't think we had some hiccups because of that. Sometimes you can, so that was good. I think we have on paper potentially 14 defensive guys, 12 on O. Although there's a couple offensive guys that could go to D and vice versa, because there's some reasonably skilled kids. I think for the most part, and these are all guys on paper, it might look good. We still got to do a great job developing and weight room and coaching, and 2, 3, and 4 or 5 years down the road where we can get them. But I think it's a longer group of kids, more range, more length, more size. Hopefully potentially guys that can play a little faster and bigger on the field and make us a little more competitive. We got 12 on offense. And I think that's and 6 of those guys were mid-year. That wasn't by design. That's just how it worked out. And the 6 guys were 6 spots is all we had. That's why it was 6. I do think it's good to have 3 of those offensive linemen here, even though we've got a veteran line coming back. We didn't sign any last year. It takes time to develop those guys. So to get a spring ball, winter conditioning, summer is awesome. With Bolzer leaving, I think Jordan Fuchs is a quality tight end prospect to work with. To have Diamont to give us some depth at quarterback, a young guy to get going in your system. And then Dominique Booth, we lose a couple, 3 receivers, a lot of guys back, but a little hit there. So I think having him, I think that really bodes for hopefully some continuity 2 years down, 18 months from now, 24 months from now as we move forward, that you don't have those voids. Hopefully we're ahead of the game. The offense has always recently has had a little bit more depth and competition, and hopefully with last year's signing and now this year with these 14 cats that are potentially defensive players, that we can enhance the competition and the ability to make plays on the defensive side. So 3, 4, 5 D-line type bodies, couple 3 outside backers, couple 3 inside backers, 4 or 5 DBs that can play corner safety. And one of the corners is a 200-pound kid. It's just a bigger kid and can run. And so again, like those guys. And like I said, I thought our staff did a well of a job. I thought our kids on campus did a great job. It's just getting easier for us to recruit. We come in town, it's just a better vibe. The hotel environment's better when we walk in. They know us and they like us and treat us right. And the restaurants you go to, they know you are. And you go to those basketball games, there's a good vibe from our student section and the fans we got. So it's just it's a lot more positive. And I think it's year 3 going into 4. We just got stronger relationships with the kids and the coaches, and we're doing a good job. We got a few, we lose a few, but it was a good day, good class, and excited to move forward with these guys. We talk about rules, like one of the comments that's made, like, should we have earlier visit dates? And I don't know if we need to have earlier visit dates, because kids are getting around, and with technology you can see and make your decisions. But I sure wish we had that early signing day like basketball did, because you got guys committing in June, and now the 12th hour this weekend say you don't want to come. Well, you've been holding off people. Like, hey, I got a spot for you. And as a program, if you do that, hey, I've got you, but then I call you as the high school coach. Hey, I can't take you now. This one over here is a little bit better for me. It's a tough deal. But the kids got to protect themselves. I understand that. You got coaching changes, so all of a sudden you lose a guy. There's a ripple effect, and the water keeps just moving around. And like I say, it's the last few days have been a free for all. It's been hectic. It's been hanging on for dear life, and some of the stories the kids hear. And you come back to, if you do a good job recruiting, you hope there's enough trust and a strong enough relationship you can weather the storm. And once in a while you might get a guy late. Once in a while you might lose a guy late. I think at the end, though, instead of worrying about it, I think it always works out. You get probably who you're supposed to coach. And hopefully you just do a nice job of evaluating those guys. And like I say, I don't have a hard time if a guy don't want to come. It's his choice. Sometimes you just worry about the effect. Sometimes those guys, they took an opportunity from someone else. I actually had a kid in my office wanting to commit, and I said, well, I know I got a spot. But then a week later, that spot wasn't there anymore because he changed his mind, and now the guy wanted to commit. He was a little offended, and he went on down the road. And, if you knew how it was going to play out, you could have covered your bases. But it's tough. But it is what it is. Thank God it's only 2 weeks after Christmas and not 3, 4, 5, 6. So, but it is. Like I said, I'd love to get into an early signing day, just so, because that way, to me, if a kid didn't want to sign, he's not committed, and now you're not saving a spot for him. these guys are committing. There'll be teams today having 4, 5, 6 commitments for next year already. So it seems like if we could have August 1 or September 1 day, it might help you. But same time, it is what it is. It's a lot of fun. And I'm not going to complain about it because we're recruiting on paper as good as we've done. And we got to take this paper product and start producing on the field. First year we get Stephen Houston late. Turns out pretty good. The next year was Timmy Bennett. It's turned out pretty good. Last year we signed a guy whose grades didn't quite get him here, and we took Nate Hoff, who's we think is going to be a nice young D lineman. So there's always guys that come around late. Potential that could be used for those early graduates. If there's a guy that wants to graduate and he's appealing, and when these guys finish school in 3 or 4 years, if you have a void, I think we'll just take our time on that, see how that plays out. The other thing too, I mean, if you don't use all the spaces, then you can use them next year and count mid-year and count backwards, and that's how sometimes you can sign a few more than you have. So we'll just see how it goes. There's no rush, and there's nothing, I don't know, imminent. We'll just see. I don't think we're going to rush to judgment, but there's potential for a few more. Some similarities. I think last year had a couple of those, quote, on-paper names that give you a little bit more splash. I think this one's probably got a little bit more depth, a little bit more quality through it, and like I say, I think there's good kids. I think there's a lot of potential. And I think we hit on some areas we needed. So I think, of course, no one's going to sit here today and say it's a bad class, but I really think as we are trying to build, I think we've made some really good strides the last 2 years. And the profile of the player we're going after, I think our kids and our staff are now identifying the type of people that we want that fit into our program. And I think we're upgrading the skill set. So I think it's pretty good.